Okay, after forgetting to hit the record button on my camera for 1,000 times, let's try this again. So, as you can probably tell, I hope you can tell, I am not on the Svartpilen anymore. So, kind of unceremoniously, the Svartpilen has been traded in for this bike. This is a 2015 Triumph Bonneville T-100. So, yeah, why? What happened to the Svartpilen? Did I just fall out of love with it? Well, you can probably read the title, so I'm going to try and make this story short. My videos have been way too long lately with all of those camping videos that have been going on in the mountains. So, long story short, the entire charging system failed because evidently, over time, the 3 bolts that hold the stator in place backed their way out, and once they were sufficiently loose enough, they more or less grenaded themselves directly into the coils of the stator. For those of you who don't know, the stator is more or less the alternator of a motorcycle. Its job is to maintain the battery as you are riding. Once you're above a certain RPM, once the engine is spinning at a particular speed, that recharges your battery. So in my case, what was happening, this didn't happen during the trip, thank goodness, but when I got back, the battery would die like every 10 miles. It was bad. So, like, I had to utilize my towing through insurance, so thankfully I have that. But, yeah, that's kind of a major issue because I had gone through 2 or 3 batteries in the span of a day and figured, okay, this is not a battery issue or a wiring issue because I would have found it by now. So got it taken to the dealer, and it was at the dealership for 28 days before they were finally able to get all the parts that they needed and repair the bike. So on the bright side, this is an issue that, assuming you've had, it's the first 2 years of that bike being owned by a consumer, then it's covered under warranty. So I just took it in that entire time. I didn't have to pay a penny. It was frustrating being without a bike for a whole month, but it didn't cost anything. So on that respect, Husqvarna gets a thumbs up for me. But it took a month just to get the parts that I needed. An entire month. So that's crazy. And part of it, yes, it is due to COVID, but I couldn't help but get the feeling that if I had had a bike that was perhaps a bigger name brand, or if I had a bike with a larger engine that was better suited for longer trips and going on the highway and all that stuff, I couldn't help but shake the feeling that perhaps the Svartpilen was no longer up to the tasks that I was wanting to give it. And those tasks being, I want to take long trips, preferably avoiding highways, but there are times that the bike will have to stay at 70 or 80 miles an hour for long periods of time. And that's kind of more than the bike is really meant to do. It is a excellent bump around town bike. Do I regret buying that Svartpilen? No, not at all. That is probably the most capable and the most fun bike I have ever owned. But it no longer was suiting my needs, and my needs dictated that I have rides like this, where I'm just out cruising on longer, straighter roads at slightly higher speeds, and I also wanted some more weight just so the bike feels more planted in the wind and whizzing past tractor trailers on the highway. Because the Svartpilen can do 80 miles an hour all day, no problem, but obviously it's a single-cylinder engine hopped up on like high compression 93 octane, so like that thing ran like a meth addict. It ran, but like you always got the feeling pushing that bike to its limit that you were always pushing it to its limit after a certain period. So I still love that bike. If I had the finances to keep it, as a second bike, I absolutely would have, but that just wasn't in the cards for me. So, yeah, so I'm going to put up some pictures up on the screen, or the pictures that were up on screen, rather. Those are pictures that came from a 390 Duke. See, if you go online and search for Svartpilen Stator bolt issue, you may or may not find anything. I don't think I found anything when I had this issue 2 months ago in June. Well, I searched it for KTM Duke 390 and immediately found like half a dozen forum posts of people having issues with the Stator. So, just want to give everybody a heads up. It doesn't seem to be super prolific in the Svartpilen, but what I will add is if you hear a rattling sound coming from somewhere in the left side engine casing, get it to a dealership immediately and tell them that you believe the Stator has come loose and you just need them to verify it. And like when they verify it, if it does seem like that Stator is backing out, put some more Loctite on there. I hesitate to say put red Loctite, like permanent Loctite, but I don't know. I mean, I wasn't crazy with that bike. You guys kind of saw like as crazy as I ever got with the Svartpilen, but the Stator backed out on me, and that's kind of a problem, a really big problem. So yeah, just kind of keep all that in mind if you are looking at the Svartpilen. If your plan is to use it around town, if your plan is to use it as a fun weekend bike, as a fun weekend / trail bike, I still think you are making a good decision. I stand by the Svartpilen is probably, maybe other than this one, my favorite bike that I have ever owned. The only reason this bike is, well, I've wanted a Triumph ever since I started riding. I mean, my first bike was a Suzuki TU250X, which, to coin Ryan from Fort 9, it looks like a Triumph Bonneville someone stuck in the dryer. Like, it's basically a miniature Bonneville. I've loved Bonnies for a long time. So, that is more or less the story of what is going on. Now, what does that mean for the channel? Does that mean, okay, bye guys, I'm going away, never see you again? No. I do plan on making more content. The content's going to just shift from Svartpilen specific content to being just motorcycle content in general. Perhaps talk about my gear or lack thereof and explain why what I am currently doing is pretty foolish, but not the worst possible thing in the world. I will maybe start talking about what gear am I wearing, what gear do I wear, what gear should you wear, what gear do I recommend, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, all that wacky stuff. I don't know. Bike reviews? No, of course not. I'm a teacher and school just started back, so my life is going back to hectic. So yeah, don't know what that means for the channel. It does mean though that obviously this 1 a week video thing has not been working out. I've been pretty good actually about every other week. So for now, I'll keep doing that. And when I have the time to upload 2 videos during that same 2 week time period, I absolutely will. I just can't make that promise right now. Anyways, I do need all of your help with one more thing. This is kind of a personal thing, but I name my bikes, the Svartpilen. Its name was Vixen. I think I mentioned it in like one of the protection install videos. Go ahead and laugh at me, but that's what I do. I name my motorcycles. I haven't come up with a good name for this one yet. I thought Trixie, but I haven't really decided. So yeah, that's kind of just what's going on. I want to come up with a name for it, and I figure, hey, I know, I'll pose the question to the internet and see what other people are thinking. So, what name might you suggest for a 2015 Bonneville T-100? Do not suggest Bonnie. That is the least imaginative name possible, and I will not accept it. But other ideas are welcome, especially, especially if you're from outside the United States. Like, I don't know how common the practice is to name your vehicles It's like a 50-50 thing in the United States from what I found. Like maybe half of everybody I've ever spoken to are like, yeah, my car's name is Chad. So yeah, I don't know how prolific that concept is outside of the United States. But if it is, what do you name your ride if you ride? And what might you suggest for a Triumph Bonneville? Because I'm rather curious what names might be used outside the United States for cars and bikes. So that is going to do it for me. I'm going to go and just kind of enjoy this ride before it gets too swelteringly hot. So we will see you later. Have a good one.